Namaste, Mama.
Namaste. Namaste, Shobho.
Shobhu வந்துட்டியா?
Shobho is here.
Namaste.
Kumar.
Namaste.
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 Namaste. Namaste, Meeraji.
Namaste.
Good morning, Kumarji.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste.
Let's start with 3 ohms. Please take a deep breath. Om. Namaste. Suprabhatam, Namo Namaha, depending on where you are. Kranti is here, so I'm going to let Kranti chant the entire Sadhana Pada. Go ahead, Kranti. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Namaste.
योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिराणतोऽस्मि आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणम् सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम् श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। अथ साधनपादः तपः स्वाध्याय ईश्वरप्रणिधानानि क्रियायोगः समाधिभावनार्थः क्लेशतनुकरणार्थश्च अविद्या अस्मिता राग द्वेष अभिनिवेशाः क्लेशाः अविद्या क्षेत्रम् उत्तरेषां प्रसुप्त तनु विच्छिन्न उदाराणाम् अनित्य अशुचि दुःख अनात्मसु नित्य शुचि सुख आत्मख्यातिः अविद्या दृग्दर्शनशक्त्योः एकात्मता इव अस्मिता सुखानुशयी रागः दुःखानुशयी द्वेषः स्वरसवाही विदुषोऽपि समारूढः अभिनिवेशः ते प्रतिप्रसवहेयाः सूक्ष्माः ध्यानहेयाः तत्वृत्तयः क्लेशमूलः कर्माशयो दृष्टादृष्टजन्म वेदनीयः सति मूले तद्विपाको जात्यायुर्भोगाः ते ह्लादपरितापफलाः पुण्यहेतुत्वात् परिणाम तापसंस्कार दुःखै गुणवृत्तिविरोधाश्च दुःखमेव सर्वं विवेकिनः हेयं दुःखमनागतं द्रष्टृदृश्ययोः संयोगो हेयहेतुः प्रकाशाक्रियास्थितिशीलं भूतेन्द्रियात्मकं भोगापवर्गार्थं दृश्यम् विशेषाविशेष लिङ्गमात्रा लिङ्गानि गुणपर्वाणि द्रष्टा दृशिमात्रः शुद्धोऽपि प्रत्ययानुपश्यः तदर्थ एव दृश्यस्य आत्मा कृतार्थं प्रतिनष्टम् अपि अनष्टं तदन्यसाधारणत्वात् स्वस्वामिशक्त्योः स्वरूपोपलब्धिहेतुः संयोगः तस्य हेतुः अविद्या तद्भावात् संयोगाभावो हानं तत्रशे कैवल्यम् विवेकख्यातिः अविप्लवा हानोपायः तस्य सप्तधा प्रान्तभूमिः प्रज्ञा योगाङ्गानुष्ठानात् अशुद्धिक्षये ज्ञानदीप्तिः आविवेकख्यातेः यम नियम आसन प्राणायाम प्रत्याहार धारणा ध्यान समाधयः अष्टौ अंगानि अहिंसा सत्य अस्तेय ब्रह्मचर्य अपरिग्रहाः यमाः जाति देश काल समय अनवच्छिन्नाः सार्वभौमाः महाव्रतम् शौच संतोष तपः स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधानानि नियमाः वितर्क बाधने प्रतिपक्ष भावनम् वितर्काः हिंसादयः कृतकारिता अनुमोदिताः लोभ क्रोध मोहपूर्वकाः मृदु मध्य अधिमात्राः दुःख अज्ञान अनन्तफलाः इति प्रतिपक्षभावनम् अहिंसा प्रतिष्ठायां तत्सन्निधौ वैरत्यागः सत्यप्रतिष्ठायां क्रियाफल आश्रयत्वम् अस्तेय प्रतिष्ठायां सर्वरत्न उपस्थानम् ब्रह्मचर्य प्रतिष्ठायां वीर्यलाभः अपरिग्रहस्थैर्ये जन्म कथं था संबोधः शौचात् स्वाङ्गजुगुप्सा परैरसंसर्गः सत्त्वशुद्धि सौमनस्य एकाग्रय इन्द्रियजय आत्मदर्शन योग्यत्वानि च सन्तोषात् अनुत्तमः सुखलाभः कायेन्द्रियसिद्धि अशुद्धिक्षयात् तपसः स्वाध्यायात् इष्टदेवत संप्रयोगः समाधिसिद्धिः ईश्वर प्रणिधानात् स्थिरसुखमासनम् प्रयत्नशैथिल्य प्रयत्नशैथिल्य अनन्त समापत्तिभ्यां ततो द्वन्द्वानभिघातः तस्मिन् सति श्वास प्रश्वासयोः गतिविच्छेदः प्राणायामः बाह्य आभ्यन्तर स्तम्भवृत्तिः देश काल संख्याभिः परिद्रष्टो दीर्घसूक्ष्मः बाह्य आभ्यन्तर विषयाक्षेपि चतुर्थः ततः क्षीयते प्रकाशावरणं धारणासु च योग्यता मनसः स्वविषय असंप्रयोगे चित्तस्य स्वरूपानुकार इव इन्द्रियाणां प्रत्याहारः ततः परमावश्यत इन्द्रियाणाम्
Thank you, Kranti.
Thank you.
So we have come a long way, and last week we covered all the sutras from I think 43 onward, if I'm not wrong. So we covered from 35 to 45. 11 sutras we covered. Yes. So we started this sadhana pada with the understanding that kriya yoga means, let me go back all the way here on the screen so that you can all see. Yes. So we said kriya yoga is a yoga of action, and it consists of three parts: tapaha, swadhyaya, and ishvara pranidhanani. So we understand tapaha, and then he describes when we understand that through tapas we burn away all the karma kleshas. Tapa means heat, produces heat, and that burns away all the karmas and kleshas. That is why the tapaha is very important. Swadhyaya is that reflection, self reflection, asking all these questions internally and getting answers. Ishvara pranidhani, surrender to the divine. So with all these and actively participating the yoga of action, the idea is to attain samadhi. So that's what it says. And I mean, the idea is to attain samadhi by weakening all the karma and kleshas in our body, So that's what the first two sutras are saying. And then he's saying, what are these kleshas in us? So he says, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abnivesha. These are the 5 kleshas, and out of which avidya is at the top of the pile. And when avidya goes away, the other 4 don't have a leg to stand on. So we saw all that. And then he defines asmita as one where you have this experience of the self. Only when you have that I experience, you can experience this entire universe. So that is asmita. Raga, dvesha, he defines as raga is anything that makes us feel good, makes us want more of this sukha, the pleasure, is raga. Anything that becomes pain and suffering is dvesha. Then abnivesha, is the concept of having the feeling that I am the doer. Because of me, this is getting done. And not having that understanding that, yes, we go and do certain actions, but it is the divine that is making it really happen. When that is not there, we are in this Abnivesha state. And he's saying, even the educated, even the well-educated, wise people, they are taken for a ride by this Abnivesha. That is what is Aruddaha means. So then, after that, he discusses how can we control or get rid of all these kleshas. So that's where he says, Prati Prasava Sukshamaha. So by holding back, taking inwards, holding back all these various activations, paying attention to them and holding back, that is how you weaken all these kleshas. And that brings in the concept of dhyana. So when you're in dhyana, when you're in the meditative state, that is what you do. You the heya, dhyana heya, tad vrattaya. So all these activation vrittis, all the vrittis can be opposed by that dhyana, where you're holding all where you become aware of all the activations and you're not reacting to those activations. So then he goes on to say that klesha mulaha karma ashayo. So he's saying, the root cause of all this for all these kleshas is the karma. So whatever is seen, whatever is not seen, and in this birth, in the future births, all this put together, what they only bring the pain or the experience of pain. They are pleasurable or miserable fruit caused by the punya, which are the actions of the past, or the apunya, regrets of the reactions of the past, that is punya, pleasant reactions of the past, punya, regrets or bad reactions of the past, apunya. That's what brings us all this pain and suffering and happiness and not. Then he goes on to say, since the wise people understand this very clearly, they say, why at all react and get all this apunya and punya and apunya, and especially the apunya part where you have to suffer. So the wise say, don't react. That is the best way to lead life. Move along with the cosmic flow. And he says the reason why we do that is why this suffering comes to us is because of is because of the avidya. Then he goes on to discuss the various gunas, how they are flowing through us, and especially as we become less and less reactive, how we start moving towards the sattva guna. That's what he discusses. And once we start moving towards that sattva guna, we can get a darshana of the Atma. So what is again preventing us from having this feeling of experiencing the Atma is the common people. What do? They generally think that, oh, they are in this state of abnivesha. So they think that I am the doer. Whatever I do, I get results based on that. So they are going on that big ego ride, and with the result, they think that any activity that I do, they calculate everything based on nashta, labha, or nashta or anashta. So that is what he discussed in Sutra 222. So this is this way of thinking is being caused by the avidya. This is how avidya works on us. So that's what he says. Tasya hetuhu. In Sutra 224, he says, Tasya hetuhu avidya. The cause of this is avidya. So, in opposing this, all these activities, all this opposing all these reactions, we can finally get a final release and completely get freedom. That is what we're calling kaivalyam. So, and to get to that state of kaivalyam, you have to cross 7 boundaries. Saptada pranta. That's what he says. Saptada pranta. 7 boundaries you have to cross. And then he names those 7 boundaries by saying yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhaya. All these 8 parts, which makes it 7 frontiers that you have to cross to attain that samadhi. So this is what we are calling as Ashtanga Yoga. So 8 parts or 7 frontiers that you have to cross. And then he started by describing what is ahimsa. So what is yama? And we said whatever yama is, the one that what we do, which keeps us in a whatever we act on a daily basis is based on how we feel soulful. Whatever we feel soulful, that is what we do. We don't do anything that is against our conscience. So he describes so as part of yama, he describes 5 of those things: ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, yamaha. So we define ahimsa, we know that avoiding all that wanton violence, satya, being truthful, and we also saw that being truthful means it's not an absolute thing. It all varies from person to person based on their perception. Asteya, not stealing. Brahmacharya, having that curiosity to know about the outer dimensions of life. Aparigraha, not wanting to accumulate property, wealth, and all that, and also not wanting to take others' things. So that's what we saw as yama. And then following that, he defines before he comes to niyamas, he defines a term called pratipaksha bhavana, where for yama and niyama to occur, you have to be very regular. So, but there will be reasons and causes to not do this, right? We will always say that I have this reason today, that is why I'm not doing it, blah, blah, etc. So vitarka badane pratipaksha bhavanam. In Sutra 233, he says, by constant argumentation, we will justify certain actions of ours. So then he says that argumentation, that vitarka, what it will do, it may even cause harm to others. They may stop either physically or emotionally or financially, it may cause harm to them. But we will always justify ourselves saying, oh, that's perfectly okay, that's all right. Whatever actions we are doing, kritartha, kritakarita, that's what we say. So what does it do? By doing that, we do that because of 3 things: lobha, krodha, moha. That is greed, anger, and infatuation are the three things that prod us to behave in this manner, to cause harm to others. And the way these harm to others can be in three different levels. It can be mridu, madhya, or adhika. It can be small, it can be medium, or it can be very high, the amount of pain that is caused to others. So understanding that this kind of behavior will only bring dukkha and ajnana in us. That will be the phala. That only will be the phala. Understanding that is called, and so opposing that kind of a behavior is called pratipaksha bhavanam. Is this clear? Pratipaksha bhavanam, we have gone through this quite a few times. Is this clear to all?
Yes.
Kumarji, can you bring the sutras to the screen, please? Or am I not seeing? Yeah.
We can see.
233 and 234. Following that pratipaksha bhavanam, we move on to the five yamas. The explanation for each one of them. We already saw that, and he is giving very detailed explanation for ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, whatever the when you are non-violent, when you practice ahimsa and you are fully in it, what does it do? It you don't have any enmity with anybody. When you are speaking the truth, satya pratitishthayam, what does it bring you? It brings you kriya phalashrayatvam. Anything that you do because of your truthfulness, any activity that you are engaged in, it will always be fruitful. Asteya pratitishthayam, sarvaratna upasthanam. So when you practice non-stealing, when you don't touch others' things, that means people will trust you, and all this very valuable jewelry and things like that will be in your custody. That's what it means. People will trust you and they leave it with you. Brahmacharya pratitishthayam, meaning when you have the curiosity to know, that will established in you, then what will be established in you? Virya labha, unending, enormous energy you will gain. Aparigrahasthairye janmakatanta sambodha. So when you, by not accumulating, and stairya means still, that means you are not accumulating, that you don't have any idea of accumulating wealth, unnecessary accumulation of wealth, means you have understood the meaning of life, because you know that you cannot carry a penny from here, and the amount of property that you leave for your hereditary, it may go off any minute. Somebody else can come and take it away the moment you leave this earth. So you will not unnecessarily hold money and accumulate wealth for your children and things like that. That's what it means. He covered all that, and then he goes on to define the five niyamas. That is shauchat. Shauchat is cleanliness of the body. Not only being clean and not being in contact with others because of the vibrations that are what are important. We don't want to get any negative vibrations. We treat even our own parts as paraihi. I mean, not as paraihi. We even abhor our own parts, meaning we always try to keep ourselves very clean and not say, oh, this is my own part, so I put my finger in my mouth. It's okay. It is after all my mouth. You go and clean your fingers. You'll go and wash your hands. So that is keeping oneself very clean. And then santosha. So santosha means contentment. Contentment brings unsurpassed sukham. That is going to be your gain. Contentment. Kaya indriya siddhi ashuddhikshaye tapasah. So by through tapas, that is the third one, we have already seen. What does tapas do? Tapas burns away all the karmas and kleshas. So by that, it brings that because of that purification of karmas and klesha, it brings indriya siddhi. You get control over the indriyas, the sense organs. Swadhyaya ishtadevata samprayogaha. When you by self-reflection, you can invoke. Samprayoga means invoking. You can invoke your Ishtadevatas. So here we have to understand that let me finish the next one and go into that. And Samadhi Siddhi, Ishvara Pranidhana. So you will be established in Samadhi by complete surrender to the divine. So these five, Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani. So these five make up the five niyamas. This should be in your schedule. Everyday schedule, these five should be there. And we also saw the five yamas, which keeps you in whatever soulful activity that you should be engaged in. So these are the 10. Swadhyaya Pranidhana. Swadhyaya Ishtadevata Samprayoga. I just wanted to give a little bit on that. Actually, this is in reference to Sattva Shuddhi 241. Saumanasya Ekhagra Indriya Jaya Atma Darshana Yogyatwani Cha. So, what does Sattva Shuddhi do? Sattva Shuddhi. Sattva, the state of Sattva. See, there are three states of living. One state of living is reactive living. That's what most of us do. That brings dynamism. And that is called Rajoguna. You react to situations and you're very dynamic. Whether it is negative or positive doesn't matter. So that is Rajaguna. The second kind of living is being inert and not being completely non-reactive. Meaning you are at that extreme where you are so inert, even your swadharma you don't do. Whatever is assigned to you also you don't do. And you are constantly running away from life. That kind of laziness. That is what is tamoguna. And now in between the two extremes is the sattva guna. It is being smooth and even and being consistent with the flow of the cosmos. Just being with the cosmic flow. In other words, you are in sync with your swadharma. So when you are in this state, what happens is by having purity, it enables us to be in a sattva shuddhi state. Sattva shuddhi saumanasya ekagrita state. In other words, we have even flow of energy that has purity and keeps your mind in good balance. Keeping the mind in good balance, that is sattva, that is saumanasya. and one-pointed focus, ekagra. So that enables us to be a person who can conquer our sense organs. That is what is Indriya Jaya. And that makes us eligible to witness our soul. That is what is saying by Yogyatvani. Eligibility, you are qualified to have a darshana of your soul, Atma Darshana. Okay. I'll move on. I want to also give you a short idea on a little bit on 244 Swadhyaya Ishtadevata Samprayoga. Through the process of reflection, that is Swadhyaya, with a higher level of purity, we are able to have the ability to empathize beyond the physical body. Beyond the physical body are the vibrations, or the vibrational body, and sense vibrations, which is in the form of how all the devatas exist. See, we have to understand there are three kinds of disembodied beings. Upon death, there are three levels of disembodied beings that are there. One level of disembodied beings are the devatas. So how do we understand these devatas? You have to understand, because we are all in this modern world, we can understand. See, in the computer, if you have a camera or any other peripheral device like a printer, to connect to the printer, you need a driver. A driver software is needed. Only through that, the printer connects to the computer connects to the printer. In the same way, the Ishtadevatas connect our senses, connect our eyes, our ears, our mouth, etc. to us, to our processing system, to our chitta. So that is what the Ishtadevatas do. The devatas, that is not Ishtadevata, that is what devatas do. The devatas connect all the sense organs to us so that we can not only sense but understand what we are sensing. So that's what they do. So this is how you understand the devatas. The second level of vibrations are the rishis. So you have to consider the rishis as some kind of an operating system, right? Like Windows operating system. On your iPhone, on your phone, you can either be an Apple phone, which is iPhone, which has the Apple operating system, or you can have Android phone, which is the Android operating system, right? So the rishis are like that. They are the operating system for this entire universe. That is, they provide all the necessary controls and activations that are needed. And the third level of disembodied beings are the departed souls from our various families, whom we call as pitrus. So here we can evoke the devatas for favorable use. When you are in Swadhyaya, that is, when you can sense the vibrations and you can connect to the vibrations. When you are in Swadhyaya, when you are in self-reflection, you can connect to the vibrations. Swadhyaya is very similar to the state of Pratyahara, which we will see later on. In Pratyahara, we are able to sense the vibrations. Similarly, we can connect into the vibrations of the devatas, and we can evoke them for our needs when we have sufficient purity. So just keep this in mind. This can be done, and in one of your earlier classes, Dr. Rajan did an experiment and showed people how it can be done. Some of the, like my sisters, were all in that class. So some of them had that experience, not everyone. Some of them had that experience of the vibrations. They could feel, they could call the devatas and they could feel it. So that is why I insist that you attend Dr. Rajan's class on a daily basis. Priya, you want everything. You want to sense everything. You want to feel everything. But unless you do that, how will you get it?
Yeah, okay, Kumarji.
Yes. All right. So now we saw all that. And now we have seen yamas and yamas in full. And we are now ready to move on to asana. So he is now saying, one second, let me get myself organized here. Stira Sukham Asanam. Stira Sukham Asanam. These are three sutras. So I'll just read all the three sutras. Stira Sukham Asanam. Prayatana Shaitalya Ananta Samapatibhyam Tato Dvanda Anabhigataha. So he is defining what asana is. Once you understand this, then you will know, then you will not have any confusion about asanas any longer, or hatha yoga any longer. Stira Sukham Asanam. He's saying asana means it should be stira, it should be stable, it should be well established, and it should give sukham, it should be pleasurable. It should not cause pain. It should not cause suffering. It should be, when you are in that posture, you should not be, there should not be any kind of movement. You should be stable. That's what he's saying. Stira Sukham Asanam. All right. And what else? Prayatana Shaitalya Ananta Samapatibhyam. Prayatana. Prayatana means effort. In Tamil we say, right? Prayatnam. Prayatnam pandren. We'll say. Prayatana means effort. So, Shaitalya. Shaitalya means weak or little. So, Prayatana Shaitalya. That is how you read it. So, little effort. Not only little effort. Not a whole lot of effort. With little effort. Ananta, unending or infinite. Okay. Ananta or unending. Infinite. What is that infinite? Samapatibhyam. We saw this in Samadhipada, the state of Samadhi. In the we discussed the state called Samapatihi. That is total engrossment, complete and total engrossment. So complete engrossment, absorption, whatever it is. So with little effort, you should be in a state of unending engrossment. That's how it should be. Is this clear?
Yes.
So it should feel like infinite engrossment. You should be fully engrossed in that. That is the characteristic to the asana. Tato, from that, when you are in that state, tato, dvanda, anabhigataga. Dvanda means opposite. Dvanda, dvandva. Dvandva means opposite. Anabhigataga means not affected by opposites. What is this opposites here? The pain, heat or cold, dryness in the throat or the mouth, cramps, overstretching, etc. You should not have any of those. Basically is saying there should be no discomfort. When you are in the total engrossment, none of these things will obviously be there, right? When you are watching a very interesting movie, you are so totally engrossed in that somebody comes and taps on your shoulder, you don't even feel it. That kind of an engrossment should be there. In that engrossment, none of these things will be there. The pain, heat or cold, dryness. Otherwise, if you are not engrossed, something or the other will bother you. So the key is to put very little effort and enjoy the postures. It is not necessary that everyone should see the modern Hatha Yoga is the modern way of looking at Hatha Yoga is to push everyone into a perfect state of yoga and making you put all kind of effort into that. So it's not that. That is not yoga. That should be very clear to you. You do within your limits and you enjoy what you do. If you have, there is something called Pada Hastasana, where we bend forward to touch the Pada without bending the knees. Not everyone will be able to do it. And over a period of time, slowly it may go down, but that doesn't mean that it will go all the way down to touch your toes. And even if you touch your toes, it doesn't mean that your hands will become flat on the floor. Those things are not necessary. You must enjoy the posture. That is what is necessary. And you must be totally engrossed in that. Okay? I was thinking of covering everything today. Finishing off. Looks like we are short of time again. Anyway, at least we'll do one sutra and we will stop there. 249. Tasmin sati shwasa prashwasayoho gati vichedaha pranayamaha. So now he is going to define pranayama. What is pranayama? We have finished with asana. He is going to define pranayama. Tasmin sati. From that, what is from that? From having attained that state of asana, where we are in total engrossment. We have come to a complete engrossment state. Shwasa. Shwasa means inhalation. Prashwasa means exhalation. Gati means time. Vichedaha means discreetly separated. Pranayama. This is what is pranayama. That is basically saying when you are in a relaxed and stable state, in whatever posture you are sitting, whether in Padmasana, Sukhasana, or Vajrasana, doesn't matter. You should feel comfortable, you should be happy, and you should be totally engrossed with no pain or anything like that. And from that state, there you start practicing pranayama. And this pranayama is, what is this pranayama? Inhalation, exhalation, the speed at which you do the inhalation and exhalation, and the separation between the two, between the inhalation. You inhale And before you exhale, there is a pause, right? You inhale, and then before you exhale, there can be a pause. This is called kumbhaka. So the gap, one can hold the breath for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, just or a fraction of a second. Now in normal breathing, it seems very continuous, but still there is a very tiny pause between the inhalation and exhalation. But when you do pranayama, you can hold the breath for, that's what I said, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, depending on the skill level of the doer. So we are saying the speed and the pause, the discretely separated, the vicheda has the discrete separation. That is what we call, the holding is what we call as, holding the breath is what we call as kumbhaka. So this is what is pranayama. So I will stop here. It's already 6:54. Any questions?
Excuse me, Kumarji. I'm sorry. Can you explain Pratipaksha Bhavana again, please?
See, the Pratipaksha Bhavanam is, let me go to that sutra so that you can see that. See, normally when we, let us say, somebody says, Uma, please, you also invest in this. We are going to start a chit fund, invest in this, and you can make quite a bit of money. And you know that this chit fund is somehow not soulful to you. You feel that it's cheating people. I'm giving an example, or it could be any kind of investment. But also understand that you can make a quick buck. So you logically kind of, not very logical, but you argue within yourself to justify your action, right? That is what we call as vitarka bhadane, pratipaksha bhavana. So by argumentation, you justify what you're doing. So this argumentation, himsadaya, although we know it causes ahimsa, himsa. Himsa means causing pain and suffering. Kritakarita, from what I'm going to do, I understand that I'm going to cause pain and suffering to others. But by argumentation, we are justifying ourselves. We say, we sanction ourselves saying, okay, go ahead. Why do we do that? Because of 3 reasons. Lobha, Krodha, Moha. Lobha because of anger. Lobha is greed. Krodha is anger. Moha is infatuation. So because of these 3, we engage in this kind of activity. So, and when we do this, the pain that we cause to others could be either low, medium, or high. And understanding that when we do these kinds of things, it is only going to bring us dukkha, pain, and it is going to bring us ignorance. May not be now, right now you may enjoy getting the money, but in the long run, the karma will take over and bring this dukkha and ajnana to us. That will be the final fruit. That is what it is saying, ananta phala. That is unending fruit, that misery. That's what you will get finally. Understanding that and acting in an opposite way, saying, oh, so I will stay away from this kind of investment. I will stop doing this because it is not soulful to me. That is pratipaksha bhavanam.
Thank you, Kumarji.
Any other question before I go off? Namaste. Next week we will conclude this chapter, and then we will invite Dr. Rajan the following week. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank
Namaste,
you.
Kumar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kumarji.
welcome. All of you are welcome. Thank you.